The Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast is brought to you by Mountain Dew flavored Doritos. Brought to you by Jeff Keighley. Also featuring Jeff Keighley flavored Mountain Dew. Watch the Game Awards next month, everybody.
And don't smoke weed.
Don't
Or
smoke
vape.
weed? Why can't we smoke weed?
Well, I don't know about weed in particular, but there's a good chance that a Jeff Keighley show's going to have a PSA about vaping.
Oh. I mean, vaping is nowhere near as bad as the things that people could be doing. I don't know. I hear there's a lot of, inhalation happening now with the kids.
Yeah, whippets are back, and you can, buy them in bulk now.
Yeah, I don't know what whippets are. I don't want to know what whippets are.
It's just nitrous. But back in my day, you used to get it out of a whipped cream can. Now you can just buy it on Amazon.
I've definitely seen these at, gas stations and never actually knew what they were.
Vaping isn't great for you, but yeah, it seems like the biggest risk is that you will be seen as cringe now.
Okay. But, I mean, being seen as cringe is nowhere near as bad as the various things you could be doing to yourself. Like what I know about what was it? It was noxious? Oxus? Catuse, what was the term you just used?
Nitrous oxide.
Nitrous. There we go. Combining two words into one. I just know that that's what the bad guy from Blue Velvet used to do, while freaking completely going nuts and calling himself baby, and it leads you to bad places. Speaking of bad places, the start of this podcast. So this is the Final Fantasy Wiki Podcast. I'm BlueHighwind.
I'm Catuse.
And I'm SomeColorMage.
This is 60 minutes of Final Fantasy talk. So this is the podcast about the Final Fantasy Wiki. That's a wiki about Final Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire explanation, right?
Yeah.
That's everything? Okay. All right, so it is November 2024, and the Game Awards are coming up very soon, right? That's the 7th?
Yeah, that is, I forget the exact timing, but I'm sure I can...
It's December 12th.
December 12th.
December 12th. So 12/12/24, which if you simplify becomes 112.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Very, very easy to remember that. Just remember 112, and you'll know exactly what time to watch it. So we should probably just get into things because the Game Awards happened or are happening, but we have the announced candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the most important election of 2024, and the only one we're going to be discussing this month.
Yeah.
Obviously. All right, so I have my Polygon article with... Oh, here we are. Thank you, Catuse. The complete list of the Game of the Year nominees, but I also wanted every nominee.
This is all the nominees. I don't know why it says Game of the Year nominees when it has things like Best Support.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go down this, I think... Well, we should probably just
considering the most important awards are at the top, maybe we should just start at the bottom and go up.
Well, I was just going to say, let's just talk about the things that Final Fantasy is nominated for, and then maybe we'll go through all of them.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was nominated for Game of the Year. It was also nominated for Best Game Direction and Best Narrative. It was nominated for Best Score and Music, Best Audio Design. Brianna White as Aerith was nominated for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for Best Performance. It was not nominated for Games for Impact because that game made no impact whatsoever. Best Ongoing Game is Final Fantasy XIV. Best Community Support is Final Fantasy XIV. And Best Mobile Game is not Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier because nobody likes that game. Let's see.
God.
interesting omission is that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was not nominated for Best Action/Adventure Game.
Well, it's in Best RPG.
Yes. It is for Best RPG. You saw the next category, I say. And then I think that's everything. Best Multiplayer, no, it did not get nominated for that. Most anticipated, there are no Final Fantasy games coming out next year, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, there's nothing slated for next year, so it's not on that list.
Content Creator of the Year, interestingly, I don't see any of us on here, which I think is just a massive miss.
I don't even know who any of these people are.
I think you should, look at the page for this on the Game Awards site, because just looking at this was really, really funny. Because generic guy who can't shave, generic guy, anime rabbit girl.
Wait. Techno Gamers was nominated for Content Creator of the Year.
No, it's Techno Gamers, not Techno Gamers.
Not Techno Obliterator, the gamer with a Z. No, a guy named Techno Gamers. Best esports athlete, none of us got that either because none of us are very good esports players. Best esports team, we did not get that either. So I'm sorry to say. So we could probably go down this like category by category.
Yeah, I mean, whichever way you want to do it, like top down or bottom up.
There's a way to vote, right? Here, I want to vote.
Vote on the Game Awards website.
Yeah, I'm going to vote
Yeah,
now.
I've linked to one of the pages on the Game Awards website, and you can just go from there to anywhere.
Yeah, so, all right, I'm going to vote, and we're going to make our decision on this podcast who I'm voting for. So we'll start with Game of the Year. Now, this is obviously the biggest one and the one with the most amount of discourse. Obviously, we on the Final Fantasy podcast want Final Fantasy VII Rebirth to win.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm looking at what's nominated here, and it's not unlikely that it's going to win because I see everyone here has a weakness. All the nominees.
Yeah, we go through the list here. We have Astrobot, which is a very fantastically designed game. But Game of the Year, it's described as the best experience across all creative and technical fields. Astrobot, despite being one of the best design platformers I played in a while, that there's no story there. So you could claim that it's not really the fully rounded experience that this award is allegedly looking for.
I can say that the Game Awards has a certain bias towards a type of game, and Astrobot is not that type of game.
That is also the case. It does have very much an open world sort of RPG bias.
Yes. It has a very high level craft cinematic Sony kind of game, which Astrobot does have the full weight of Sony Entertainment behind it, but it does also sort of feel slight, I guess is the way you'd put it. I'm just thinking in the thought of if I'm running a game show, if I want to talk about what is actually Game of the Year, and I will be writing my top 10 games of the year in February, I don't think Astrobot is my personal Game of the Year. I think it's really, really good, though.
The thing is, 3 of the games listed in this category are my top 3. It's just that, one of those is my top 1, and that is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So,
Speaking of similarly slight is Balatro, which is... I have actually not played this game yet. I mean to before I write my top 10.
Balatro is definitely best indie, but I'm not sure how it managed to get into Game of the Year.
This category doesn't make any sense.
You don't think it should be Game of the Year?
The next 2 options don't make sense.
I mean, I'll say Black Myth Wukong is a game that I know a lot of people have played. I have not heard anything about this game, other than it was very, very successful. So I think you could probably write off Black Myth Wukong, because even if a ton of gamers have played it and liked it, a lot of the people in games media, who are actually the people who vote on this, don't seem like they cared about this game.
Ultimately, it just seemed okay, not astounding.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I've seen a lot of footage of it. It's like if you took Dark Souls and you just made the map 5 times bigger.
Yeah, or
It's like doesn't feel original enough to be game of the year.
yeah, or there's that game with the robot chick that I did not like at all, but a lot of people played. What was it? It's got like boobs and stuff all over it.
It shows up in a Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade,
it shows up in later rewards,
Yeah.
but like that one also just seemed okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fine, but at the same time, it seemed to be really banking on tits. And see, the thing is, in the modern day, there are so many cheap, not even just cheap, free ways to see as much titty as you want. So like your what $60 experience has to sell itself on more than just tits.
I'd say that game.
Well, you could play one of the Final Fantasy.
What? Sorry, Catuse.
Okay, well, you see, Catuse's point was that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a very well-made game and is also quite horny.
Oh yeah, there's lots of tits in that.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think Black Myth Wukong is going to win. I also don't think Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, is going to mix together.
And this is the requisite annual Game Awards judge panel does not know the definition of words because that is an expansion pack.
I don't have any problem with it making it here, considering how long of an experience it is. And how much it is basically like an inner sequel. I'm fine with that. I'm fine putting expansion packs in if they're, extensive enough. Like if Alan Wake 2's expansion packs, like DLCs, were here, I would call that bullshit because they are just not substantial in any way and probably aren't even worth the money.
But like the thing is, at this point, I think there should just be a best expansion category.
They have best ongoing. I mean, there aren't that many great expansions to the level of like Elden Ring. Like I would say Blood and Wine, The Witcher 3. That was one of the best games that came out that year. Whatever year it was like 2018. Like that's a really big expansion. It's a good 15 hours long. That's as long as a game needs to be. But I will say that the fact that it is DLC means a lot of people are probably not going to vote for it. Also, the fact that Elden Ring already won Game of the Year. There's a bit of a level of repetitive. Are we really just going to go put the same series in every single year? So I think Black Myth Wukong and Elden Ring are probably unlikely to actually win this thing. I don't think Astrobot's going to win. I think Balattra's got a better shot because a lot of people did play it. Like practically everyone has played this thing except for me, weirdly. And
I have actually not played Balattra, but it looks good.
Yeah.
It's just more that I can say about Black Myth Wukong.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth almost seems like it might have missed its moment to win this entire thing. If it had come out in September and we were in the afterglow of people really liking this game and maybe not even finishing it, just getting to the parts of it that they like, I feel like it would have a better reception. But the fact that people got to the ending, which is not good, it almost feels like the game's kind of got baggage behind it. To the point that one of my news articles that I brought up in my notes, if I bring them up, it's the game's director was going and talking in interviews saying that the third game he's going to change to make it a little bit easier to go and actually platinum the dang thing. He's changing the mini games and that sort of stuff.
I mean, yeah, look, I mean, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is my number one here, but like, sometimes I feel like the anger about the ending is overblown, and I feel like people would have gotten mad about it even if it was the most straightforward thing possible.
Mm-hmm. Finally, Metaphor ReFantazio is a game I'm playing right now. It's got a chanting monk in the battle theme, which is awesome. The game's gorgeous. The style is overwhelming. It's a pretty good one of these. It's definitely a Persona game with a fantasy skin on top of it. It's got a beautiful fascist that you can vote for. There's no resonance in the real world there about, let's say, an election coming up and a dangerous person who will destroy a country narrowly surviving an assassination attempt. None of that. There's no resonance whatsoever. Just ignore all that.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I think Metaphor's weakness is that it's a JRPG-ass JRPG.
Yeah, like I said before, they do have a bias towards those open world type of things, and Metaphor ReFantagio is very much a Persona-like. It is still my number 2 with everything listed here. It is an excellent game, but, Western journalists can get really fucking weird about Japanese games.
I will say there is a game that is missing from this list that annoys me severely. I'm not pleased to not see it here. And I'm not pleased that people didn't play it either, considering everything. I mean, it's the Prince of Persia game that came out in January.
Yeah.
That game is fantastic. That is my second favorite game of the year. I can understand why Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is not on here, because it's a little bit more of just the exact same from Like a Dragon 7. But also, Animal Well probably could have made this list, but I can understand why it didn't, because they have the best indie category. So, all right. So I guess I'm going to vote. I will vote for Final Fantasy VII. Oh, I have to log in.
Their login thing is completely broken on my computer, by the way, so I guess I'm not voting.
Well, let's just say I'm going to vote, because I actually have voted before on my phone. I'm not logging in again. Here we have Best Game Direction. I don't know what this category means versus Best Game. Genuinely,
yeah, because it's the exact same nominees.
Yeah.
And also, like, you'd think a Best Direction award would be for the director.
I think I might have said this last year, but I've thought this before. When it comes to Best Director of a film, the director is a specific job and has a specific guild. There's a labor task that's been assigned to it. There is a craft behind it. You can go to school, like specifically directing classes. There are books written about directing films. There's no such thing for game direction. A lot of games don't even have proper directors. So this is just a bizarre category. I'm going to vote for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because I think it's the best game here.
Yeah. Yeah, like this one, like if you did consider it a best director, no matter how nebulous it is, the logistics are a little different, because here I'm going, okay, Astrobot did have an incredibly solid direction, and I could see voting for that when I couldn't for Game of the Year. But yeah, ultimately, the award's not so different. I consider giving it to a different game.
I think, like, in terms of, like, best presentation, Astrobot probably is one of the slickest and prettiest things out there, but that's not what direction means, you know? I don't know what video game directing actually means. Like, it's never been properly defined, which makes an award for it ridiculous. We're going to move on to Best Narrative. The nominees here are Seven Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, which did come out this year. I completely forgot about that. And Silent Hill 2, the remake. For Best Narrative, I think I'm going to give this to Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, actually.
For this one, I gave it to Metaphor. Like,
okay. We
can definitely say Rebirth is a very well told game, but ultimately it is mostly retreading a 27-year-old story. I really don't think remaking a narrative is worthy of Best Narrative, which is also like, I don't think Silent Hill 2 should be here.
No, I would say that Seven Rebirth has... Like, this is one of the difficult things about the Best Narrative, because Seven Rebirth has incredible scenes and has great dialogue and things like that. But in terms of overall story, I don't think it completely succeeds at what it's trying to do. We've already had these discussions.
Like it also doesn't help that it's adapting the slowest part of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Metaphor, I might vote for, but I don't actually know where the story's going yet. So I'm up to the point where I have mechs that are running across the world, and I thought for a second we were going to have a Skies of Arcadia boss fight, but we did not do that, unfortunately.
But yeah, like for me, it's the same situation with Yakuza 8. It's just like I do not know enough about its story to consider it. So, yeah.
There is a really beautiful storyline involving Kiryu and his cancer diagnosis, which I think is... I don't think it's perfectly done, because to spoil it, they're not going to kill off Kiryu. And it does feel like there's what I would love to see is a video game that dealing with palliative care and end of life situations, and this is a thing that everyone needs to deal with. It's coming up for all of us and our loved ones. It's something that we have to accept. And this game kind of doesn't go there, but it gets very close to it, which I think is really impressive. So I'd vote for that one over 7 Rebirth. We're moving on to Best Art Direction, which is Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Metaphor, and Neva. I think I'd give this to Metaphor.
Metaphor, absolutely. Yeah. This is just an excellent refinement of what they've been doing with the HD Persona games. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, the boss fights are who's the Both, I think it is, the Dutch painter. They're just like completely surreal, just chaos. It's incredible looking things. They're just pure. Yeah, I'm gonna go next on that. Best score in music. We have Astrobot, 7 Rebirth, Metaphor, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade. Nobody has been talking about the music in Stellar Blade, so that should not be on here.
Yeah, I haven't heard any music from Stellar Blade.
I played an hour of it. I don't remember there being any good music in it. It's definitely no Nier Automata soundtrack, I can tell you that.
I gave this one to Rebirth, although, yeah, I definitely admit Metaphor's pretty close.
Metaphor's got a really cool soundtrack. Yeah, I'd give this a 7 Rebirth because it's a song about a dog. Catuse, do you have any thoughts on music here?
So I'm apparently lived under a rock, so I have not played these.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, you're voting for 7 Rebirth then. Thank you. Best audio design is interestingly that I like that these are different categories because audio design is a different thing than music. So Astrobot, Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, 7 Rebirth, Senua's Saga's Hellblade 2, which is probably going to win this because that's what the first game did really impressively. That was like people were saying, oh, you have to play this game with headphones to get the surround sound of all the voices. Silent Hill 2. I'd actually give this to Astrobot because...
I don't know anything about Hellblade, so I'm also on Team Astrobot for this one.
It does the Mario thing of when you run around on textures, your footprints sound different. So you can walk on glass, and there's like this ching noise that's just great. You know? All right.
Yeah, also, having a game that is designed to its core to take full advantage of the DualSense capabilities does actually do a lot when it comes to sound.
All right, so here we have Best Performance. We have Brianna White for 7 Rebirth, Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure, Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, Melina Juergens for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I have not played any of these other games, so I have
While I could guess who everyone is playing, I wish they'd actually included that in the information because I've just included the actor and the game.
That's a little unfortunate. Looking at my own notes of the games I've played, most of the games I've really liked don't really have much in the way of voice acting, so...
Anyway, same as you, just due to my own exposure to these, Brianna White wins by default.
I would say this should probably actually go to Kazuma's voice actor in Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, or Kiryu's voice actor, but they did not nominate anyone who's Japanese. So this is all English. So, all right, moving on to innovation in accessibility. I don't think any of us have any expertise in this and would be unable to vote. But the nominees
are... very interesting that what has been for a while basically considered the Sony Award for being a Sony game doesn't have any Sony nominees.
No, it does not. It's Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. I wish that this page would tell me exactly what these games were doing that was considered so accessible, but that is not on here.
Yeah, when I think of accessible, I don't think of Black Ops, but maybe they did something.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for Prince of Persia The Lost Crown because that's the only game been nominated so far, and that game kicks fucking ass.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, that team, they all got fired. Or the team got dissolved, unfortunately.
I think they got reassigned back to the Rayman mines, which don't seem to be doing anything.
Yeah, the Ubisoft could be out of business in 6 months the way things are going, so who knows. Next we have Games for Impact. This is, quote, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
Yeah, and even reading that, I still don't know what the fuck this award means.
I think it's just like, what is the game that we are most proud of, and if there was a Oscar Best Picture kind of quote-unquote importance, this is the ones we'd put on here. So these are Closer the Distance, a game I have never heard of until just now. Indica, which is a game I have heard of. That's like a witch live-action game kind of thing. Neva, which is a game I really want to play. That's from the Grease people. Life is Strange Double Exposure, which is on here probably because it has queer themes. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. And Tales of Kenzera Zhao. That's the other Prince of Persia game. Like, it came out like 2 months later, looked exactly the same as the other one, and because of that, nobody played this one. Not that anyone played the Prince of Persia Metroidvania either, unfortunately. I'm going to vote for Neva because I like those people. Not that I know what impact it actually made. I imagine it didn't make much of anything. Best Ongoing is games for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. Destiny 2 will probably win this one because it had that big expansion that wrapped up the story.
Yeah, that's probably got hype a bit among it, but like aside from that, Destiny 2 is one of those ones where it feels like the community is constantly at war with the developers because they don't like any changes.
Yeah. The other nominees here are Diablo 4, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, I'm interested, it did not get nominated for Game of the Year, considering what a big impact it had back in the winter.
Yeah, but that is also another game where the user base seems constantly at war with the developers. So
yeah, you know, I'm going to vote for Final Fantasy XIV here because I really like those tacos that the cat girl ate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy XIV's had problems this year, but compared to the rest of the slate, just having a few problems excels it well above everything else. Except maybe Fortnite, but I'm not fucking voting for Fortnite.
Well, Fortnite has a Kamala Harris level in it, or at least it did.
Oh, God.
You don't have that in Final Fantasy XIV. Okay, moving on.
Well, you know what? I could say a lot about Final Fantasy XIV right now. You know what? That's also a game with an election plotline, weirdly enough. Yeah, it's the exact same plot as Metaphor, now that I think about it. Down to the crazy fascist guy that you have to stop. Alright, best community support, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky. I don't know, I'll vote for Final Fantasy XIV. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I put down on my list of who I would vote for trick question supporting social media communities is bad, and by that standard, Helldivers 2 because they're the ones who clearly hate their users the most. But yeah, I don't care about this category.
No, best independent game, and we could have all kinds of discourse as to what an independent game actually is. Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. Personally, I'm voting for Animal Well here. That's a really, really cool game. I beat it in a week. I need to play Balatro. I need to play Neva. I'd like to play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I don't think I'm ever going to play UFO 50.
Yeah, like I understand why at least 3 of these games are considered good, but like I don't have enough experience with any of them to actually vote for them.
Catuse, did you play any of these?
No, I was going to play Animal Well. I thought it was technically very impressive, and then I got busy doing a million other things.
Yeah. Have you played any indie games from this year? Like, is there anything that you think like got snubbed? Because
I don't think there's any. I mean, not that I'm aware of. I don't think there's anything that should be here that isn't. I mean,
I really like Cassette Beasts. That's going to be on my top 10. But that's actually a game from last year. I'm kind of cheating to even put that on here. Yeah, so I'm going to go Animal Well. Best debut indie game. Why?
And because Animal Well and Balatro are already here, I assume that one of those will win both of these awards.
Yes, the other options are the Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and the Plucky Squire, which is a game that got really bad reviews. So I'm also voting for Animal Well here.
And that's a shame. The Plucky Squire looked neat.
It did look really neat, and then the reviews were bad, so I did not play it. Best mobile game, we have AFK Journey, which I got so many YouTube ads for. Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, which I'm getting tons of YouTube ads about now. Wuthering Waves, which I've never heard of before. And Zenless Zone Zero, which I've seen quite a bit of porn about.
I would expect Zenless Zone Zero to get it because Mihoyo.
Okay.
And while it's eligible to be here, Balatro being here kind of feels like cheating because.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I cannot vote for any of these, so I'll just move on. Next is Best VR/AR. Nobody plays VR anymore, so we're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
Best action game: Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown should be on here. That is the best action game I played this year.
Yeah, if these are the top 5, this is an incredibly mediocre slate of games for the genre. I don't know what to actually put on the top there because, that's 4 mid and also a Warhammer game that people like, but I don't care because it's Warhammer.
I'll tell you this: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is not nominated for this category, but it had better combat than Stellar Blade. I did not like Stellar Blade's combat at all. That's why I only played an hour of it. I'm just going to say right now, the combat in that game is bad. There's a ton of delay on all the parries, and you have to do a ton of parries. It sucks. I wish that game was just Nier Automata again. I'm actually mad about it the more I think about it. That game really fucking sucks. Why is that even here? Yeah, I'm not voting for any of these. Best action/adventure. We have Astrobot, now Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hills 2, Star Wars Outlaws, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which I've played about 5 hours of, and I don't know if I'm actually going to finish it at this point. I'm sorry to say.
I know games are full of incoherent genres, but action-adventure just does not make sense as a genre.
Sorry,
look at how different these
action/adventure, please.
Look at how different these 5 games are. We have Astrobot, very, very standard, almost like the platonic ideal of a Nintendo 3D platformer just by Sony. We have Metroidvania combat game. We have an atmospheric horror game. We have the platonic ideal of an Ubisoft stealth game, which is one where the stealth is so shit they've basically had to patch it out. And then we have I guess the Echoes of Wisdom you describe as a puzzle platformer, kind of.
I would. I respect a lot of what's going on in that game in Echoes of Wisdom, but I put it down, and I can't bring myself to come back to it. And I don't really have a rational reason for why that is. I'm voting for Prince of Persia because that game needed to get nominated for a lot more things. But you're right. This is a completely incoherent category. Yeah. All 5 of these games are a different genre.
Yeah.
I think this is just the catch-all. We didn't know where to put them.
Yep.
Yeah. I kind of have to give this one to Astrobot by default, but I'm definitely willing to concede to your argument concerning Prince of Persia.
Now we have Best RPG. Dragon's Dogma 2, which I forgot came out this year. Elden Ring.
That one, Dragon's Dogma 2 was really well liked for the first fortnight, and then opinions on it bombed hard.
I was never a Dragon's Dogma person. There's a kind of person that's a game for, and it's not me. Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erd Tree, which has been completely absent of our categories so far, which is a good argument for why it's not going to win Game of the Year. The fact that they only remembered it now, like, why is that not a best action game? People really like the Elden Ring action, I thought. 7 Rebirth is here, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio. I mean, we have to vote 7 Rebirth, don't we?
Yeah, yeah. If you were to say, like, Metaphor ReFantazio was better, then why didn't you say it was also Game of the Year? Like, this is the kind of category where like, if you don't vote for something, you're also voting for GOTY, then, yeah, your argument just doesn't make any sense.
I'll say this, one game that probably should have been nominated for Game of the Year is Queen's Blood. That's a incredible game.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, honestly.
I might put that as, when I write my top 10, Queen's Blood might be one of the top 10. It could be there. All right. Next we have Best Fighting. I've not played any of these. It's Dragon Ball Sparking! 0, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiversus, and Tekken 8. I'm not voting.
I feel like I would vote for Tekken 8 just so Multiversus doesn't win. I've not played Tekken 8, but
I have no opinion on this other than what the fuck is Multiversus doing here? The relaunch of that game has been hated. Also, it already has a Best Fighting Game award from like 2 years ago.
Was it nominated 2 years ago?
Yeah, like its beta won Best Fighting whenever that was happening. But then they took it down for like a year, and then the relaunch never recovered.
Yeah, I can't say I've played any of these and do not have an opinion. Best Family. Doesn't say Best Family Game, it just says Best Family. So the winner obviously needs to be the Fast and Furious characters. Gosh.
Yeah.
That was a good joke, and I just had to chew on it completely. So Best Family is Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. None of these are games I think you'd want to play with kids. I don't know.
Yeah, my opinion's not fully formed here, but I think best one is probably either Astrobot or Echoes of Wisdom. Like, Showtime is kind of mid by Nintendo standards, and Super Mario Party Jamboree, that is a game you play if you want your family to have a fist fight.
If you play that with your little kids, you are asking for those kids to start beating the shit out of each other, and as a parent, you can't do that to your kids. It is like a social experiment.
That series, Child Protective Services probably considers that a red flag if you play it with your kids.
I'd go Astrobot here because it's clearly the best game on this list.
Yeah.
Next we have Best Sim/Strategy. Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kinitsugami, The Path of Goddess, that Capcom game that's like an action game that's also an RTS, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord, which I didn't like Unicorn Overlord, but I will vote for it just to make Hex Magica happy.
Yeah, that's also a kind of a by default thing by me, because I did not play any of these games. Although I did want to play Unicorn Overlord. I'll probably get to it eventually.
I played the demo. I don't think that RTS combat just works very well on a console, under any reasons. I don't even like the Ogre Battle games it's inspired by. So, also, the plot is just so paint by numbers. It's like the people who complained about Triangle Strategy's story as being like a little shallow or whatever, fuck off with Unicorn Overlord. At least Triangle Strategy was trying. It tried to have a resource-based explanation for the historical processes you were dealing with. It had ideas. No. Best Sports/Racing. None of us have an opinion.
They all suck.
Yeah. Go Broncos. Best Multiplayer. Sorry?
The tennis one looks like it's partially AI generated or something. Okay, moving on.
Oh, I didn't even look at these. All right. Best multiplayer is Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40K. None of us have an opinion on this, right?
This is the genre, the field where I consider inspiring fistfights to be a plus. So therefore, Super Mario Party Jamboree.
Oh, okay. All right. I already voted for Helldivers 2, I think, but I was putting myself in the feet of, let's say, like a GameSpot voter or whatever. And let's say you haven't played any of these, you're just going to pick the one that you think got the most discourse, so you're going to go with Helldivers 2, which is why it's going to win this category. Best adaptation. These are the TV shows based on video game things. We have Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. We've been talking about Arcane a lot on another Discord.
Like of the five, three of these I know have been decently well received. That's Arcane, Fallout, and Knuckles. But of those three, Arcane is like overwhelmingly the most popular of the lot.
No, Fallout is the most popular of these. That TV show was enormous.
Really?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, people watch the hell out of that Fallout show. Arcane just came out like 3 weeks ago, but Fallout is a live-action TV show, so it has a leg up. There are people who just don't watch cartoons. I'd also say Fallout is a better TV show than Season 2 of Arcane. I have deep problems with Season 2 of Arcane. It is a good season if you thought that show was about Victor and Jace. It is a terrible season if you thought it was about Vi and Jinx. Simple enough. Fallout is probably going to win this category, I think.
Yeah. Meanwhile, of the other two, people really didn't seem to like the Like a Dragon show, and Tomb Raider, I honestly forgot that came out because the only thing I've seen is a single clip of the show that was insulting the French.
Good. Next, we have most anticipated game. This is an interesting category, I think. We have Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yotei, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I want to know your opinion on this.
Okay, well, of these five, the one I'd most want to play is Metroid Prime 4. The one I most want to watch is Death Stranding 2 because, hook that Kojima bullshit straight to my veins. But actually, none of these are my most anticipated game. My most anticipated is actually Deltarune Chapter 3.
Oh. Is Deltarune Chapter 3 officially announced to come out in 2025?
That is their current expectation.
Okay. Catuse, you have any opinion on any of this?
Of these, the one that I think I'm the most excited to play is Monster Hunter Wilds.
Okay.
But
it does look quite cool. That was a great trailer.
It looks cool. I don't know. Death Stranding 2 was going to be interesting.
I thought Death Stranding 1 was a great game. I loved just running around, building ladders, and fucking with the physics to try to cheat my way up mountains. I liked building roads and carrying pizzas and dealing with crazy Kojima characters rambling in Kojima ways. I liked having a baby to hang out with. I definitely am going Death Stranding 2 on this, in every way. The winner will be Grand Theft Auto 6, because that is going to be the game that will make and break this entire industry, I think. All right. Are we near? Oh, now we have Content Creator of the Year, which we've already talked about. We don't care. Best Esports Game. I don't think we care, right?
Best esports, all three of those categories, I'd rather shoot myself than consider any of the possibilities.
Okay.
I care more about content creator, in which case I don't really care. But Kojima is a fan of Usada Pecora, so she has the mandate of heaven.
Okay. Catuse?
So the thing about the best esports is that I guess you can sort of say Counter-Strike 2 came out this year or last year because it's like it came out in 2023, but it's just like an upgrade of CS:GO. All of these games I played, well, except Mobile Legends Bang Bang, which is a knockoff of League of Legends made by ByteDance. All of these games I played as a teenager, like 10 years ago. So I don't actually know what this category is for.
I thought the second Counter-Strike game came out in like 2004. So I'm confused why there's a Counter-Strike 2 in 2023.
It's not the second Counter-Strike game.
Oh,
it's like the 5th Counter-Strike game or something.
All right.
Also, it's just an upgrade to CS:GO.
Oh, okay. Of these, I want to give an anti-vote to League of Legends because I feel like the lore of that game ruined Season 2 of Arcane. And Valorant, I forgot this game was still going. Also, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang. I just need to say that out loud.
Yeah, you know what? I'm considering giving that the vote based on name alone.
There's a horny elf art that looks AI generated. Mobile Legends, Bang Bang. Way to go. Best esports athlete? No.
I see I see they're including everyone's real name now. I guess someone is finally getting embarrassed of having to read out all of those handles when they're announcing the award.
What, you can't pronounce Zimjk? ZMJJKK? Or Zaiwu? Finally, we have Best Esports Team, which includes Team Liquid! I just need to say that. Player's Choice. Oh, I guess we've already
That's
voted,
not open yet.
Yeah, never mind.
That's nothing until December. So.
All right, so that's our talk about the Game Awards. That's coming out on October 12th. I mean December 12th. I think we have.
Anyway, that's our topic for the month out of the way. We do have news, I think.
We do have news, yeah. Do you want to do a live stream of the Game Awards? Like when times come? Because this is like as big of a Final Fantasy Game Awards as I think we're ever going to have.
Maybe. If people are interested, I can do it. But as it stands, the two Jeff Keighley shows, the Game Awards and the Summer Games Fest kickoff just tend to piss me off so much. I guess some people might get entertainment from my suffering. I personally do not get entertainment from my own suffering, but
I don't know. Is there going to be a Weezer cameo this year?
There could be. We might get the monk from Metaphor Refantasio singing his part in the battle theme.
Right.
He's done it live before. He did it in the Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah. That's going to be really funny when they do all the things, because I think no matter how you arrange those 6 games, the transition to the one song Balatro has is always going to be really funny.
Yeah, I don't even know the song. They should just, you know what, they should get the girl who sings all the songs in Cassette Beasts and just have her do a concert and then pretend there's Game Awards around it. Even though, again, that's a 2023 game. I don't care. I found out about it this year, and I think it's awesome. Right, so we should probably...
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we should probably do news. Beyond the Game Awards news... Oh, by the way, do we actually have a prediction of what's going to win? Because we sort of weaseled our way around it. But, what do you actually think is going to win Game of the Year?
The answer is I honestly don't know. I feel like most of these have reasons that they would be picked. But the thing is, it can be sometimes a bit hard to gauge sentiment because, the judges panel is basically what decides. The votes we put down, the entirety of the user votes are only worth 10%.
Mm-hmm.
But the only one that I think of the 6 Game of the Year nominees that's probably a hard no is Balatro. I can see them going.
Black Myth is 100% a hard no. I think Balatro's got. I'd give it probably second best odds to win this whole thing.
I mean, the thing is that the judges' bench is actually an international team, and there is certainly some foreign groups that really want Black Myth, but I don't know if any of the judging organizations are Chinese. But But yeah, I actually do not know who wins this.
Okay. The problem is that you are now a video game pundit because your voice is in a microphone. So you have to go and you have to go put your whole ass out on the line here and call a shot. Who's going to win Game of the Year?
Okay, well...
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, well, I really want Rebirth to win.
Okay. So you say Rebirth's going to win for that reason.
I'm calling it for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 100% locked in for no reason at all.
All right, I'm getting the Iowa returns now, and the polls are surprisingly high for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think we all think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Because I think we've gone through all the nominees have weaknesses, and 7 Rebirth has extremely high reviews, and people are going to remember that. And even though I think actually Metaphor has a higher Metacritic score, it's still got the cartoon game ghetto problem that it's going to deal with. It's too anime. Where 7 Rebirth at least manages to smuggle its anime in with high definition graphics. And there's a song about a dog. There's actually multiple songs about a dog.
Yeah, for the musical choices for this award, they should just pick one of the Stamp songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, they could put the main theme or Eris theme in there, but I think what the Game Awards really needs is bow wow wow bow wow wow.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, if you really really love a great card game where jokers are core to your strategy, let me introduce you to Queen's Blood, because the Joker card in that game is really really incredible. That was like core to my entire strategy. I think that boosts your cards around you if you kill an enemy card, if memory serves. I don't remember exactly what it did, but it was Joker card, Queen's Blade. Maybe I should go to the Final Fantasy Wiki and it'll tell me.
Yeah, those are strategies that just destroy tons of cards to make other cards more powerful. Those get really good in Queen's Blood.
Yeah, when allied and... Oh, wait, it's even better for Joker. When allied and enemy cards are destroyed, raise this card's power by 1. So you can kind of like get into like a recycle point and just build up the power of that card to its like the point of like 30 points, and you can just wreck house with that.
Yeah, like it's kind of necessary, really, because the final boss of the storyline does that exact same bullshit, and the only chance you really have is to out-bullshit her bullshit.
Yeah, it's like pure luck. That last fight is really, really hard.
Yeah.
Like, the strategy gets very in-depth. Queen's Blood is a hell of a game. People aren't talking enough about Queen's Blood. Alright. We should probably... Oh, I don't even need my phone anymore. I have 3 screens now that I fixed up my home... my home setup, so I can...
Square Enix, we know has a tendency to be pretty bad with mobile games. I think they would actually have a success on their hands if they make Queen's Blood mobile.
Okay. Where are we with November? I gotta find my way to the beginning of November here. Alright, so... we start with some bad news. This is Square Enix sharing their Q2 results. Sales were down, income's up due to no AAA games and related costs. The HD games division is losing money again. Dawn Trail was a big boost in the MMO subsegment. Mobile browser games are making less money. Ultimately, a 27% in operational profits from July through September 2024, with an even sharper decrease of 89% net profit, resulting stock price to fall by 12.37%, as reported by this Twitter tweet that I was looking at. This is back when I was still on Twitter. Everyone get off Twitter. In all seriousness, it's time to go.
Yeah, we'll have another story later where the motto is also get off Twitter. It's going to be a recurring theme this month.
So the next news story I have, we've already talked about Square Enix's profitability issues. It's old hat at this point. It's been the story of the year, unfortunately. People did not buy enough copies of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. They didn't buy enough copies of Final Fantasy XVI on PC either, is the rumor, but I can't find any hard source to that. There's a few websites reporting it that are very questionable, so I'm not going to stick my ass out for that site. whatever it is. I think it was, what was the name of this website that was even reporting it? Sorry, I'm going down.
And people are there is a group of so-called pundits out there that are fucking addicted to like the Steam current players numbers, despite the fact that that has zero correlation for anything that's not an online multiplayer game.
Yeah, this is a website called tech4gamers.com. I've never heard of it before. I don't know how legit it is, so I can just say that they reported that the game only sold about 300,000 copies since launch on PC, which I think is probably...
Yeah, they do not have those numbers.
They do not, no.
They absolutely do not have those numbers.
This website looks like an ad for Mist Interactive, which is a company I've never even heard of.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to have even brought it up, but it's just something I saw along the interwebs, and I can't find any hard source for it. It's just, that's what was reported there. Is definitely hard source, because it comes from the most reliable source of all video game news, is Wario64, now on Blue Sky. Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy IV The After Years are coming to Apple Arcade on December 9th. Also, the Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster will be coming to Apple Arcade at a later date, so presumably all the Pixel Remaster games will be coming. This is for the DS 3D remake version, specifically.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to play those on your phone, you can do that.
So, like, if they're bringing one there, unless the initiative completely flops, I assume they'll also bring like the 4 pixel remaster there eventually, along with the others.
Oh, actually, I have the Final Fantasy I Pixel Remaster release date. It's January 9th, 2025. Also, Trials of Mana will be coming.
Yeah, that's the remake version, right?
Yep. Also, some other games coming. Boggle, Arcade Edition. Pac-Man 256 Plus. Hot Wheels Race Off Plus. Barbie Color Creations Plus. And Little Cities Diorama. I don't know why there's pluses at the end of all of these. It's like a plus at the end of every one of these game titles, which is confusing to me. But that's what's the news report there. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Material Ultimania is coming out in Japan on December 27th, 2024. And Zack Fair, looking very handsome, is going to be on the cover. Which is interesting because he's only in that game for about 3 hours.
Well, you know, if he's like just on the cover there and nowhere inside the book, that's roughly the same proportion he's present in the game.
He'll be on the cover and then in the very last chapter in one of final boss fight for no reason you could really explain. We already talked about Naoki Hamaguchi talking about some of the changes he's making for the 7 Rebirth Remake Part 3.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff he's been talking about this month is restating things that he's already said. Yeah.
It seems like they sent him on a publicity tour, possibly to drum up support for 7 Rebirth making Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's also just like a beer press cycle going around because of the Golden Joysticks.
Oh yeah, that also happened. I forgot to actually check who won the Golden Joysticks. Let's see, Golden Joystick Awards winners. There should be a news report somewhere. Here we are. The Golden Joystick Award winners are 7 Rebirth won Best Soundtrack, Best Storytelling, and that's it. Best Lead Performer is Cody Christian for Cloud, and Brianna White won Best Supporting Performer. But actually, Game of the Year looks like it went to Black Myth Wukong. Huh. Well, what do I know? Maybe that will win Game of the Year.
Who knows?
Best Indie Game was Another Crab's Treasure, which was not even nominated. Best Indie Game Self-Published was the award.
So an indie game award with more integrity than the Game Awards ones.
I guess so. Yeah, Bellatra won Best Indie Game. I honestly don't really know what the Golden Joysticks even are compared to the Game Awards. This is the one that I think like game developers vote in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's called
Like
the People's
this,
Gaming Awards.
It's the Communist Gaming Awards.
This is the one that last year Troy Baker was hosting and he got really drunk at.
Good for him. This goes back to 1983.
Okay.
Do you want to know what game won Game of the Year in 1983?
I don't know what games released in 1983.
It is Jetpack for the ZX Spectrum and VIC-20. Jetpack with just a C, not a CK. I'm actually curious what the other winners are. I'm going to go through this whole list because we got time. Why not? So 1984, the winner was Night Lore, which is a game. It came out on the ZX Spectrum. This is a British award, if you don't know.
Yeah.
Runners up is the Ghostbusters game, that piece of shit that came out on the Nintendo eventually. I guess it was better on the Commodore 64. Infamously reviewed 3 times by the Angry Video Game Award. Impressive that it got nominated. 1985 is Way of the Exploding Fist, another Commodore 64 MX Spectrum. It's like a proto-fighting game.
And it was a name, though.
Yeah. 86 is a game you might have actually heard of, Gauntlet.
It's
an arcade game. Famous one.
Oh, they have that at the arcade I go to. Very nice.
1987 is Outrun, a game I've heard of. That's a racing game. It's an arcade racing game.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that sometimes shows up in the Like a Dragon games.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Because I can remember that one because, everything Like a Dragon does is over the top. So you get in the game and Q just goes, outrun!
Operation Wolf won in 1988. I've never heard of this game. It's a light gun shooter developed by Taito. Also for the ZX Spectrum and et cetera, et cetera. 1989 is The Untouchables, which is an adaptation of the movie developed by Ocean Software. I've never heard of this game before. Did eventually come out on the NES, so I guess I'll wait for Jeff Gertzman to play that one. 1990 is Rick Dangerous 2. Never heard of this one. I wish Techno was here because maybe he might have heard it. No, he was born in like 1995. He has no memory of any of this.
I think he was born in 98, actually.
Oh, well, never mind. 1991 is a game called Sonic the Hedgehog? What?
Yeah, never heard of that one.
Yeah. Huh. Developed by Sonic Team for the Sega Genesis. Weird. 1992 Street Fighter 2. Now we're in the era where this kind of makes sense. Looks like there was no 93 awards because it just goes to 94 with Super Mario All-Stars. Again, no 95 awards. 96 and 97 were combined, so the winner was Super Mario 64. Again, a whole big jump. We go to Grand Theft Auto 3 wins in 2002. 2003 is Grand Theft Auto Vice City. 2004 is Burnout 3. 05 is San Andreas. 2006 is Elder Scrolls Oblivion. 2007 is Gears of War. 08 is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Then Little Big Planet, Assassin's Creed 2, Black Ops, Battlefield 3, Last of Us, DayZ.
Are you just reading the one at the top of the list?
I am just winning. I'm just reading the winners at this point because we've all heard of these. Bloodborne, Overwatch, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. Horizon Zero Dawn winning for 2017. Are you drunk? Seriously?
No, the one that won in 2017 is Breath of the Wild. You're reading the best storytelling category.
Oh, I thought the best game would be at the top. I'm sorry.
Now, after like 2010, the person writing this Wikipedia article got drunk and just started doing them in a random order.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that you're also looking at this because I fucked up. All right, sorry. It doesn't matter. Really, what was interesting?
Yeah, these are games that we've heard of. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. What was interesting is looking back in the 80s to see what British game publications thought were the best games of the year.
Yeah, because the 80s was the era where the Japanese, American, and European markets were completely separate.
Yes. The 80s were the period where British kids would go and play horrible, horrible games about eggs and think that they were the greatest games ever made.
Yeah, because the microcomputers crash never happened in Europe, so it was pretty much localized to North America that that collapse of the industry.
And a lot of those C64 games would eventually end up translated on the Super Nintendo. I mean, the regular Nintendo. So if you if you really enjoy, let's say, Back to the Future 2 and 3, disaster of a video game, a surreal nightmare, thank the British for that.
Yeah, like the NES was like pretty much the first truly global console, because I don't think the Commodore really made it into Japan. So
it's popular in America too.
Yeah, but I think it was like the NES that first took off globally, although not as much in Europe as it did in the rest of the world.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back to the Future 2 and 3 is not British. It's actually Beam Software. It's Australian. So, SomeColorMage, you have to go and answer for this video game.
I'm just thinking, and I think I remember Beam Software is the company that couldn't figure out how to change the BPM on music tracks in their games.
That sounds right. We got way off topic with Golden Joystick shit. So, all right, I have a few Nova Crystallis articles, which I checked before we started recording. So, Final Fantasy XIV Mobile was announced. This is a few days ago.
Yep.
Naoki Yoshida is saying that the game is going to faithfully recreate the story, battles, and duties featured in the original game, specifically tailored for the mobile platform. We have talked about this before. It's being developed by Tencent's Lightspeed Studios. If you want to play Final Fantasy XIV on your phone, that's going to be possible soon. Next up, Kingdom Hearts Missing Link is obviously not coming out in 2024 at this point. Let's see if Nova Crystallis can tell us more. If the page ever loads.
And I don't think they know anything either. It's just like got announced that it's delayed. We don't know when it's coming out.
It's never coming out.
Alright, so this is the official Twitter. While preparing for the launch of Kingdom Hearts Missing Link, we have made the difficult decision to delay the release. We sincerely apologize to all players who've been looking forward to the release. We appreciate your patience. Please look forward to further information. There was a close beta in May, and that's the last anyone ever heard of this game.
And it wasn't that good.
It didn't look good. I'll tell you that.
I've got one article here, an interview on Inverse with the producer of Dragon Quest III HD 2D, Masaki Hayasaka, and they asked him about what he'd like to do next after the Dragon Quest remakes, and he said, it's not that we have concrete plans for this, but personally I would want to remake Final Fantasy VI. Octopath Traveler, the first HD 2D title, was developed while referencing Final Fantasy VI because it was our game with the highest quality pixel art. I would love to see how the game we referenced would look with the HD 2D art style.
Okay. I can also say that 7 Ever Crisis's next story update came out on November 20th. It's in the Snowy Mountains. It's adapting the Crisis Core chapter of Modeoheim, which I'm sure you remember fondly. There was the snow part of that game. I remember there was a snow part. That's about all I can remember about that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And that's all the news I have. I imagine there's more Final Fantasy XIV stuff that I missed, right?
Right, yes, because there was major patch this month. Crossroads, this patch we had a new Ultimate, Futures Rewritten, which is an adaptation of the Eden story arc. And that actually launched this week, and you can bet there was fucking world first drama again.
Right.
So after the kind of complete disaster that was the Omega Protocol, a bunch of the raiding groups that get involved in.
You have to remind me because I don't remember it all.
The winning team. The winning team were found out to have been using that Zoom hack.
We did not talk about this.
Yes, we did.
We definitely did. Like this was over a year ago at this point. So,
all right. Because I remember there was a new super boss that we talked about, but I didn't remember that this was before the whole Yucatan expansion happened.
Yeah, this is the first ultimate of Dawn Trail. But yeah, so like after that incident with the Omega Protocol, a bunch of the teams that get involved in this stuff really wanted to do their best to look legitimate. So they had like they had this complicated streaming setup and like the kind of rules that if you're world first, we'll still kind of recognize you, but we'll only give you the prize if you're streaming all of your characters in a way that can be put up on this giant restreaming setup we have, and blah blah blah. And that bit was working fine. But anyway, the team that declared that they were first was not part of the stream, and like they were kind of recognized. But then another one of the players on the team posted a screenshot of their clear on Twitter, and people took a closer look, and this user very obviously had a mod installed to show the position of the character's hurt box. For those not aware of Final Fantasy XIV's mechanics, dodging enemy attacks kind of works on bullet hell rules. The size of your model and stuff don't really matter. There's just like a single pixel at the center of your being, and whether or not that pixel gets hit determines whether or not you get hit with the attack. So there is a fairly popular mod called Pixel Perfect that just turns that pixel into a giant dot.
Okay.
And this user, this one member of the team, had no idea what they were doing, so they posted a screenshot that still had this giant fucking dot right in the middle of the screen. and people went, and of course, things went ballistic. The groups that were doing the stream very quickly said, "Okay, no, this does not count. World First is still on." The guy who tweeted this image, he then deleted his image and said, "Oh no, I'm actually not part of the team. I just took a picture from them. This is completely unrelated. Only for everyone else to point out to them, you named your Twitter account after your Final Fantasy XIV character." The team that everyone has recognized as world first now was part of the streaming setup. This team that cheated, the cheats only saved them about 2 hours time total. So
that's not a short amount of time. That's enough time.
That's very short. This
race
like
went on
days of it takes like
this race was 3 days.
3 days of like 18 hours a day.
In life, 2 hours is enough time for you to watch, Final Fantasy VII. I mean, Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, or Final Fantasy VII: Advent Children, or Final Fantasy XV, the movie, whatever that was called, Kingsglaive.
But also in general, this was really close because the team that finished after them was like 10 minutes later. Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that team did not cheat.
Yeah, as far as we know, like it is possible to hide this stuff on streaming because, like by default, OBS doesn't pick a bunch of them up because it's kind of like the Discord overlay for some of them. But yeah, they did not accidentally give away that they were cheating. So,
they did a better job cheating.
Yes.
So. It's like the tune-in exams. You have to cheat, but you have to cheat smart.
Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, this happened yesterday, so time will tell whether or not Yoshida gets mad about this again, because this is like the third ultimate in a row where this has happened.
And we were talking about this. He doesn't actually care about cheating. He just has to appear to care about cheating.
It's kind of like he knows what MMO communities are like, but also because Final Fantasy XIV is very much a console game, he has to be very strict, no tolerance on this kind of stuff.
It's like he is a modern gamer, but works for super conservative old Japanese guys who don't understand what video games are. in the 21st century.
Well, like, yeah, he is aware of the realities of the community, but he's also very aware of the realities of the industry he's in.
Yeah.
And like he's outright said things like, well, parsing your data to have a DPS meter, that is against the terms of service, but if we don't see it technically, because we already log out all the information that goes into them, for all we know, could just be your friend off to a side with a calculator.
Mm-hmm. At least Square Enix is not as like virulently violent and hateful towards anything that's not official like Nintendo is.
Yeah, this is true, but
is like all emulation is theft.
Like, yeah, this is true, but I at least am concerned that if things keep going like this, kind of rubbing it in Square Enix's face that they can't do shit, eventually they're going to decide, well, we can do shit. We're adding memory integrity checks to the PC version. Now everyone gets a worse experience because you wouldn't fucking listen to us.
Yeah, I'm real nervous about those kernel anti-cheats you got to download. Like,
yeah,
I had to do that for Suicide Squad, which I played.
Oh God,
Suicide Squad. What?
Yeah, really. I downloaded it because it was free if you had an Amazon account. But then I never played it because it's on my computer and I don't feel like the whole setup. Like, I'd have to go hook up my PlayStation 4 controller to this thing. It's like, whatever. And it's on the stupid Epic Games Store, so it's got less controller support than it would on Steam. So, whatever. But it's still like this kernel anti-cheat is like, I understand it's like industry standard and people just accept it as normal, but it's also like, yeah, this could fuck my entire shit up if it ever gets exploited. It is deeply terrifying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Windows security. Microsoft have done a lot to actually make Windows security actually worth something over the past decade or so, and this kind of stuff just goes back to circumventing all of that.
Yeah, and it also makes it much harder for you to play it on anything other than Windows. Like, if you're a Linux freak. You can't do it because it's set up specifically to go and fuck with Windows,
Yeah.
So all bad. Not that I don't even know if Final Fantasy XIV can work on a Linux computer. I'm not sure.
I've heard it works. I've heard people getting it working on Steam Deck, so technically yes. I think there have been a couple of compatibility problems getting it to work over Wine/Proton/whatever Windows pseudo emulation service you're using, but it does seem to work. Like, they don't provide a specific Linux install, but it does seem to work.
Do you think you could get it to work on a Commodore 64 though?
I don't think it has enough memory on that thing to even start the launcher.
No, it has no. Actually, let's see. How much memory is in a Commodore 64? Just out of curiosity. There's no way in hell I'd be able to launch it, but Commodore 64 memory. Like 64 kilobytes of RAM. Meaning it.
Damn, that's a lot.
Meaning it probably couldn't even launch like Discord. Probably couldn't launch a browser.
Yeah, good.
Could it launch Microsoft Word?
Probably not.
Yeah. Could it launch?
My current open version of Firefox, which I had to just bring up that Dragon Quest III interview, is currently taking up 700 megabytes of memory.
Yeah. Could it launch Microsoft Minesweeper, but the Windows 95 version?
Oh, I do not have the Windows 95 version on here, so I can't check.
We're off topic again. Is there any more Final Fantasy XIV stuff?
Not really. The patch came out because this is the odd number patch. This is the start of the of that Final Fantasy XI crossover raid series. that's actually one of the best 24-player raids in quite a while. The story, the main story has hit a very confusing point. Sphene is back and she appears to have invented Calvinism.
Speaking of Final Fantasy XIV, Dawn Trail, I never actually got to eat that cochinita pibil. That's like a plot point in there. As memory serves, I found a place in Parsippany, New Jersey that might be able to serve it. Now that my new office is in Parsippany, New Jersey, I might finally be able to eat it. We may have to update this story come next month. We'll see.
Right.
And I guess that's everything. I mean...
Yeah, unless there's something, that we missed, Kat.
I can't think of anything. I keep thinking of stuff to say, and then somebody else says it first. I think we're done here. No, it's fine. As long as it gets said.
You're much smarter than us with math stuff, but our brains
that
work
is
faster
not
for podcasting.
Relevant. That is not relevant here.
Yeah, if only, you know what, if we had a podcast about, what was your specialty again we were talking about at IRL?
Geometric measure theory?
Yes.
That is not going to come up with in an FFWiki podcast.
You don't think so?
No.
I was able to bring up, like, the theory of the creation of the universe in Kabbalah last time you were here, so I think we could probably find a way to drag the conversation to that place. If we wanted to. But I think we're running out of energy, so we should probably wrap up, right?
I think we hit everything.
We hit everything? All the stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So just to recap, Final Fantasy is a video game. It has chocobos and moogles, and cactuars, and elves, and Cloud Strife. And that's what our wiki's about. And then we run this program that comes out every month. And we talk about those things. Right? That's all true? Okay. So
probably.
Yeah. So it's finalfantasy.fandom.com is the website. The show comes out once a month. The podcast music is La Montaña de los Jovenes Caballeros, which is by XPRTNovice off the OC Ruin, Balance, and Ruin soundtrack. I did not say that right, but, whatever. I've said it enough times at this point that it kind of makes sense. I'm your host, BlueHighwind. Catuse is also your host. SomeColorMage is your host. And you, the listener, you get to host yourself, really. Because all we can do is say the words, but ultimately it's your brain that translates the information that we're transmitting. So there is an information loss. You are interpreting what we're saying, and thus, really, the show only exists in your mind. Nothing we say ultimately matters. You can misinterpret it however you want. And that's
just don't complain to us if you misinterpret something and it makes you mad.
Yes, unless what we said actually did make you mad. Like all our talk getting around the election, as catastrophe as it was, goddamn fucking nightmare. Jesus Christ. But the show will continue. And if you're mad about that, well, you know what? Fuck off. Why do you got to get mad? You won. You're a piece of shit.